Hi, I'm Diane Macedo. We want to get right to breaking news. Dallas law enforcement is responding to a shooting at an ICE facility. Police say a shooter is down from a self-inflicted injury after at least 3 people were shot. Let's bring in ABC's chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky and former FBI agent Brad Garrett for more. Aaron, what do we know so far?
So far, Diane, we understand that the shooting occurred in a Sallyport area of this ICE facility in Dallas. It appears that several people have been shot, some fatally, according to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem a short while ago. The shooter is dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound on the roof of a building, and so it appears that the shooter, believed to be a young man, maybe in his 20s or 30s, according to sources, was positioned as sniper-type fire. We're still waiting for law enforcement officials to confirm all of this, but that does appear to be the case. The shooter is dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Several people have been shot, some fatally, others rushed to the hospital with injuries. No idea yet who exactly has been shot. We just heard the acting director of ICE say that this occurred in a Sallyport area where they do move detainees, but we're waiting for officials to say for sure who the victims are here.
This is essentially a local scene. The Dallas Police Department responding. We are told that FBI agents have been sent to the scene, as they often are in these kinds of situations. But again, just to recap, ICE spokesperson confirming that 2 of 3 people shot in the facility are dead. The third is in the hospital. They're saying that no ICE officers were hurt. The Dallas Police Department said this shooting occurred at about 6:40 a.m. local time, and they're saying that the 3 people shot are ICE detainees, and that the shooter died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That's not in addition to the 3 people who were shot. Of course, this is still fluid. We're still gathering information about this. It's important to note a DHS spokeswoman had said that this facility has been the target of a previous bomb threat, and authorities are saying they don't yet have information about a motive. But of course, ICE facilities and ICE officers, as we know, have been targeted by violence. We all remember that nearly a dozen people equipped with tactical gear and weapons attacked an ICE detention facility in Alvarado, Texas on July 4th, and a local law enforcement officer was shot during that attack. 10 people have been charged in that incident. On July 7th, a man shot at a Border Patrol facility in McAllen, Texas, authorities say. And there have been a number of attacks on individual ICE officers. For example, in August, DHS says 15 to 20 people in San Francisco grabbed, punched, and pepper sprayed ICE officers. And DHS is saying that ICE officers in general have experienced a 700% surge in assaults in recent months. And again, they're still trying to determine the motive in this attack on him.
We got some updated breaking news coming out of Dallas that the shooter was identified as Joshua John. Joshua John is the man that is accused of shooting up that ICE facility in Dallas, where he took the life of 1 person, wounded 2 others, and then took the life of himself. The other detainee who survived the shooting is currently in critical condition at the hospital. They say that John fired indiscriminately at the ICE building, as well as the van where the victims were shot. It goes on to say that the 3 detainees were in an unmarked transport van when they were shot before John took his own life somewhere around 7 o'clock this morning. He was found lying there lifeless with his rifle over there on a nearby rooftop. Kash Patel goes on to say that these despicable political motivated attacks against law enforcement are not a one-off. It has to end, and the FBI and our partners will lead these investigative efforts to ensure that those who target our law enforcement are pursued and brought to the fullest extent of the law. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton goes on to say, the attack on ICE in Dallas is yet another despicable assault on law and order. The epidemic of leftist political violence must end, and that Democrats have fostered an environment of evil, emboldening radicals to steal and destroy. But we will never surrender. And then we heard from the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, which goes on to say that the state supports immigration enforcement officers and that the shooter's actions will not slow our arrest, detention, and deportation of illegal immigrants. We will work with ICE and the Dallas Police Department to get to the bottom of the assassin's motive. The bottom line is it's gotta stop. The bottom line is this does not help any political movement whatsoever. This is not gonna make a difference. All this going to do is fuel the machine and fuel the engine for ICE to continue to do what they do. I want you to all remember one thing, that if you are here illegally in the United States of America, by definition, you are a criminal. I didn't make the laws up, but that's what it states. So some way or somehow, you must find a way to come here legally. Because if you don't, the odds are, I promise you, as I'm making this post, it will catch up to you and you will be deported.
Yesterday's tragedy struck at Dallas ICE office. A detainee lost his life. 2 others are in critical condition after being rushed to hospital, and the shooter, identified as Joshua John, turned the gun on himself. This devastating incident has shaken both the immigrant community and law enforcement, raising urgent questions about safety, oversight, and human dignity inside detention center.
Today at approximately 6:40 a.m., we received a assist the officer call. We responded to the call, got to the scene, and we later learned that we had 4 individuals that were shot, 2 of them deceased, including the shooter. The DPD was able to locate the shooter, who was deceased.
A Fox News alert, reports say 3 people have been critically injured at a Dallas ICE facility after shots rang out this morning.
Police responded to calls around 7 a.m. local time. Agents reportedly approached the suspect, who then apparently shot himself.
Let's go to Griff Jenkins in studio with some of the information that he's learning. Do we have Griff?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Lawrence, Ainsley, and Brian. This is what ICE fears most, and that is an attack on them. Fox can confirm through ICE sources that there was this attack this morning at the Dallas facility. Shots were fired into the sally port of this facility along the freeway there in Dallas, and the ICE confirms that the shooter is down, a self-inflicted wound, and that 3 individuals have been hit. Their condition unknown. We're continuing to try and learn more about this as you look live here and can see the tremendous law enforcement response. But ICE telling me in no clearer way that they call this, quote, a clear attack on ICE. Now, this comes as we have seen a more than 1,000% increase of assaults on ICE officers. And now this morning, tragically, we're learning that this shooter apparently fired indiscriminately into the sally port. Unclear whether ICE officers or detainees or who may have been injured, but at least 3 individuals have been shot. The shooter is down through a self-inflicted wound. We'll bring you more as we get it, guys.
Griff, just working back some sources back and forth here. And by the way, this information is very fluid. But from what I'm hearing from my sources, this happened as they were unloading some of these detainees when the shots started to ring out. Are you hearing the same thing?
That's exactly right, Lawrence, and that's why I mentioned that sally port. So apparently it occurred when detainees were being brought into the sally port. This shooter, we're not sure exactly where he was located, but was able to shoot into that sally port and struck at least 3 people. That shooter now is down from the self-inflicted wound, so we may not know exactly what his plan was, what they were intending to do, other than to shoot people this morning at an ICE facility. We're learning more as we get it, and particularly we're interested, obviously, in learning about the conditions of the 3 individuals that were struck this morning.
We have an update from this morning's shooting at the ICE facility in Dallas, Texas. Authorities have identified the gunman as 29-year-old Joshua John, and this is the only time I will say his name and show his photo. From here on out, he will only be known as the shooter. Now, here's the latest update on what investigators say happened. The shooter climbed onto a rooftop near the Dallas ICE field office and opened fire on a van that was carrying migrant detainees into the facility. 3 people were hit, 1 died at the scene, and 2 remain in critical condition at the hospital. None of the ICE agents or law enforcement officers were injured. As police moved in, the shooter turned the firearm on himself, and he was found dead with a rifle next to him. Investigators then discovered unspent rounds engraved with the words anti-ICE, which you can see in this picture. And they also found his car nearby with a disturbing poster taped to the side showing nuclear fallout zones across the country. And then inside that vehicle, officials say that they recovered other materials that point to planning and an obsession with catastrophic events. Now, the FBI says that they are treating this as an act of targeted violence and emphasize that it was not random. Witnesses outside the facility reported hearing about 20 shots in rapid succession, sending people driving for cover as chaos erupted. Now, one thing that's really important to update is that it was reported earlier that 2 of the detainees had passed away. Homeland Security has revised that toll and said that only 1 is confirmed dead and the 2 others are still in critical condition. So just wanted to make sure that you knew that in case you heard something different. Mexico's foreign ministry has confirmed that one of the survivors is a Mexican national. Anyways, this is everything that we have as of right now that's confirmed. Make sure to hit that follow button if you want to stay up to date and drop your thoughts about everything in the comments.
So it's being reported that multiple people was just shot at an ICE detention center, y'all, in Dallas. And of course, the person who did it, the shooter who did it, is unalived from a self-inflicted wound. So they said he got in that facility and he opened fire. And 3 people got hit. And out of the 3 people that got hit up, 1 of them was unalived. So RIP to him. My question is, how did a shooter get inside a federal facility with a strap? And another question is, how did he get inside and was able to open fire before anyone stopped it? Certain shit just don't make sense to me, y'all. Don't they got metal detectors? You got all these people in that area securing the spot. How the fuck they let that happen? I'm confused. Certain shit that happened like this, it just make you wonder, was this a random shooting? Like he just wanted to go in there and rah-rah-rah? Or was this planned? Like you got all these security in there and they let this happen. Do your fucking job. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments. I'm gonna keep y'all updated on this situation because some smell fishy.
As we reflect on what happened, one thing is clear. This was not just another isolated act of violence. The loss of detainees' life is a tragedy that ripples far beyond the walls of that facility. Families, friends, and entire community are left with pain and unanswered questions. The 2 detainees still fighting for their life in the hospital remind us that recovery is not just physical, it is emotional and psychological for everyone who witnessed such. The shooter, Joshua John, ended his life after committing this act. While we may never fully understand his motive, his action has left scars that will not easily heal. This event forces us to ask, are our detention facilities truly safe for the vulnerable individuals who are placed in them? Are there stronger measurements that can be taken to prevent violence within these walls? This is where ICE and detention authority must take responsibility. Security needs urgent reformment, not just in form of guys and metal detector, but through proactive mental health checks, conflict prevention programs, and better monitoring of detainees. Staff must be trained to identify early warning signs of violence and provide support before tragedies strike. Transparency and accountability are not optional. They are necessary to prevent the loss of human's life. Beyond the headlines, we must not forget that detainees are human beings, fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters. They are people whose lives carry values regardless of their legal status. For every tragedy like this, the call grows louder for reform and compassion in how detention is managed. To the families mourning today, our thought and prayer are with you. To authorities, we urge you Do not let this be another forgotten headline. Let this be the moment you commit to the meaningful change in the way detention center operates. We give credit to the stitches of the video that help bring this story to light and ensure the truth is told. Now to you, our viewers, what do you think should be done to make sure tragedy like this never happens again? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let your voice be heard. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and join the conversation, because your opinion matters, and together we can push for a safer and better tomorrow.